What is going on, guys? It is Alpha JDM. Now, I haven't uploaded anything in like almost 2 weeks again, so I figured I should make a quick little video just so you guys don't disown me. So anyway, I assume a lot of you know that I'm a car photographer, and before I put all my photos and stuff out on the internet, like on Facebook and Instagram, I usually edit them. Actually, no, I always edit them. So, I'm going to show you guys how I do that. Alright, to start, the Photoshop program that I'm using is Corel Paint Shop Pro X8. And I've been using Corel Paint Shop for the last 6 years or so, and personally I think it blows Adobe Photoshop out of the water. Like, I used Adobe a couple times, like I used it in school, like in my senior year when I took a graphic design class, and I just don't think that Adobe Photoshop can compare to Corel Paint Shop. It's like there's so many more things you can do on Corel, and everything you can do in Adobe you can do with so much more ease on Paint Shop. The camera that I use is a Canon EOS Rebel T6i, and it takes photos in a 24 megapixel photo resolution, which is very good resolution. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, you've probably noticed by now, but we have ourselves a Nissan 240SX S14 Koike. And the first thing that I usually do for pretty much all my photos is I crop them down to a certain size. Now, the size that I normally use is because it looks cooler when I post it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and also just because it brings out the car a little bit more. Is 16:9. So it kind of gives more of a wide frame shot. So now that we have the photo cropped down to a size, the next thing I usually do is up the vibrancy. Now, I don't always do this. I normally do it on days where it's cloudy or there's a pretty bad overcast, which at this show there was a pretty bad overcast, so I wasn't getting all the necessary lighting that I could have. I have the vibrancy setting on 22, and there is a pretty noticeable difference. It just brings out the color and brings out a little bit more details of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is, I do this for pretty much all of my photos, is I'm going to up the clarity in the light, which basically what that does, it just brings out some more details of the cars, and also it fills light into some bits that you can't really see that well. You can see there's a pretty nice difference there. So moving on to our next photo, we have a R34 Skyline GTR. Shockingly, I see these a lot at shows. Like, they're not really a rare sight. A precious sight, but not a rare sight. I mean, I don't ever not get excited when I see one. Anyway, what I'm going to do next is something that I usually do with cars with brighter colors, such as white. And that is, I'm going to up the contrast of the photo. Now, okay, I don't know what just happened there. Gonna fix that. So, up in the contrast, usually with white cars, it makes it more frosty, I guess. So I up the contrast to 20, and again, as you can see, there's a pretty noticeable difference. But there is a problem, and that is that you cannot see the details of the wheels anymore. So, before I apply the contrast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop out the wheels. Alright, so I got both the front and the back wheels cropped out, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is reapply that contrast that I was about to put on. Okay. Alright, so I've applied the contrast, and we got that nice frosty look to the Skyline, but you can still see the details of those awesome Nismo wheels. So next, we got ourselves an engine bay shot of a Civic, and we got a B16, I believe. Looks like a B16, correct me if I'm wrong, might be a B18. Just as I usually do, I am going to crop the photo, but I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. To crop it a little bit differently than a lot differently than I usually do. and I'm going to bring the cropping zone down to pretty much just the engine bay, and I'm actually going to rotate it a little bit so it gives it more of a, you know, like a funky look, I guess. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that vibrancy setting, and I'm going to up that again because, I mean, obviously, an engine's under a hood that's popped. There's going to be a lot of shadows, so you're not going to get all the colors that could have actually be there. So up the vibrancy a little bit, and you can see the valve cover is a little more yellow, and the spoon thing is more blue. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to up the sharpness just so you can see all the little bits and details of the actual engine bay, and it just makes it look a lot cooler and clearer. You can see everything looks a little bit more detailed. I mean, you can see the like the mesh or weaving on the carbon Kevlar, and you can pretty much see all like the little bits down there which you wouldn't normally be able to see. It wasn't that sharp. Alright, so last thing I'm going to show you guys is a little bit different. I don't know how many people actually do this, but whenever I see like a complex like lighting structure on like headlights or fog lights or whatever, I like to make it sharper, and it just makes it pop out a little bit more. I find myself doing this a lot on Stink Eye Imprezas, but obviously this is a BRZ, but this also has complex lighting construction. So I'm not going to do this for one headlight because you can barely see the other one, so I'm going to crop out the headlight real quick. Alright, so I got the headlight cropped out, and now I'm going to up the sharpness, and that pretty much just brings out like all the details and like the little bits you can see in the headlight construction. This makes it look a lot better. Okay, so actually I lied. This is the last thing I want to show you, and that would be adding my logo, my new logo, by the way. Changed it just because I feel that it, you know, fits my personality a little bit better. So I'm going to paste that in as a new layer, and I even have a method doing this. Since my logo like pops out a little more, like you'll probably see like all over the internet, like most car photographers' watermarks or logos are like white or like kind of clear. Mine is like a little bit more like in your face, so I move it to like the farthest corner that I possibly can, and I do that just to make it so you can still like obviously notice that it's there, but since it's so like poppy and in your face, it doesn't really take away from the aesthetic of the car. Alright, so that's about it. Do what you wish with this information, be productive, help society with it. And I don't know if I said in the beginning of the video, I'm working on filming some more stuff that I can post at some point, so this is pretty much just to keep you guys occupied. So like links to my Facebook page, which has pretty much all the photos that I take at shows, will be down in the description along with my other social medias. So you guys should definitely check those out, and if you're new, you should subscribe because that's what all the cool kids are doing. I mean, you're gonna go to your lunch table tomorrow and you're gonna sit down with all your friends and be like, hey man, you subscribe to Alpha JDM? And they're gonna be like, no, I'm not. And they're all gonna call you a loser and throw things at you. I mean, you wouldn't want that now, would you? Alright guys, I will see you next time. Have a good one.